Now they lost it on the 40 acres on campus grounds. We gather round, discussing goals and dreams and life's adventures. The Texas Longhorns, they're the talk of the town. High castles of the 40 acres, where we dive deep into the game day stories. From touchdowns to heartbreakers, we discuss it all. Texas Longhorns glory. Here we gather round each Thursday night, talking sports. It's so alright. From football to basketball, baseball to softball, Tim Wayne and Irish, we cover it all. Sports talk is our passion, our delight. Thursday night at 8:30, we unite. We discuss the scores, the plays, the teams you might. Let's dive into the game, let's ignite.
12 conference champions.
There we are. what a night it's been. We're late because there's been a lot of technical issues. I got some new equipment, which is really cool. I definitely put Uncle Sam's money to work this week. Yeah. Hey, but we're here.
First off, thank you guys for jumping in here. 35 people. That's awesome.
Hey, we appreciate
it. Coming in, spending some time with us tonight. 36, 38 people. Thank you guys for jumping in there for us with us tonight. We got a lot to talk about, as Harish was mentioning, and we're gonna kick it off, man, right here at the Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast.
Yes, sir. First off, Tim, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm kind of nervous. It's March. We just had a really good combine. And we could touch on that a little bit later, but we had a pretty good combine. But we also had March Madness. But there's one program I'm not worried about, and that's the Lady Longhorns. I'm not worried about them. It's the main guy.
Look, hold on real quick before we get started. Luke, hey man, chill, bro. Arch Manning ain't going nowhere, but we will talk about what he is out of later tonight. Arch Manning is not going anywhere, but hey, thanks for the comment. Hope you enjoy the show. Continue to ask questions. We want to interact with you. This is the fun part of the podcast, right? Where we get to talk and answer you guys' questions. But no, he is not going anywhere. Definitely not leaving Texas. We are not breaking that news, but we will talk about that here in a second. Before we get
to address a couple of things in regards to that, from what I'm seeing in regards to the video game community now, it seems to be a little bit of drama in regards to that as well. So we'll cover that as well.
Yeah, because I think that's the majority of it. But yeah, we definitely will talk about that here in a little bit. Before we get started, of course, let's pay some bills here. FanBattlesports.com, FanBattlesports.com, where you find the latest and greatest of the AFC South, including the Mayo Titans, the Texans, who are actually pretty good, the Colts, whose GM still can't build a team, and who's left? Oh, yeah, the Jaguars with the mid-franchise quarterback. FanBattlesports.com, and, of course, you can find us there as well. Listen, if you guys are wanting to start a new podcast, we'll give you all the stuff you need. Go to the website, go to the page, check out all the content on there. You can check out past episodes, check out articles written by us. You can also check out, start your own podcast with the network. Go to the contact us form, fill out all the details. We'll help you out there. FanBattlesports.com. All righty, guys. Follow us on Twitter. Of course, we appreciate you guys listening to us here on Twitter on the live show, LH Fan Battle. Tim is throwing out some dope TikToks, so we need to add that onto there. Follow us on TikTok, Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast. Check out the dope content that Tim's put out there. Myself as well, I get a little funnies here and there. I get a little bored. I just, try to put a little something. Check us out on TikTok. Of course, check us out here on the tubes, Longhorn Fan Battle on the YouTubes there. We are live every Thursday night. We should be getting some guests coming up here pretty soon. Yeah. So we're still working on some. But yeah, check us out on the YouTube. And of course, like, comment, subscribe while you're there. We'd really appreciate it. All right, Tim, let's talk about Arch Manning. So Anwar Richardson, friend of the show, breaks news on Tuesday night now, I believe. Now, little did he know at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night, a random tweet about Arch Manning opting out would blow up and go viral the next morning. I think at this point, last time I saw it was 14 million. I'm sure it's well over that now.
At that time, it had over 10 million views.
Yeah. So Anwar Richardson breaks. Again, Anwar Richardson is a reporter, right? What he does is he reports the news. He is not a gamer. I watched Old Fashioned Show the next morning. He is definitely not a gamer, so he is not inclusive of what all this means. So that's what we're here for. We'll help fill in the gaps of what he reported. But Anwar Richardson tweets out basically, hey, Arch Manning is opting out. Literally all it says, Arch Manning will not be in NCAA football 25. Doesn't even refer it to as actually, no. Multiple people have told me Texas redshirt quarterback Arch Manning will not opt into EA Sports College Football 25. I'm told Arch is focused on practicing, playing football on the field. Listen, we know who Arch Manning is. We know what Arch Manning is, and we know the importance of what he's trying to accomplish. Me as a Manning fan, a Colts fan, I know how the Mannings operate. We saw how, Eli operated throughout his college career. Peyton operated throughout his college pro career. Eli sat for 3 years before he took a snap at Ole Miss, and then he balled out and he was so good he got to force and pick his team, right? Caleb Williams is that good, and he doesn't get to force and pick his team. But, hey, that's a different story for a different day.
Yeah, like Caleb Williams, man.
If I was Caleb Williams, I wouldn't do anything.
You just muted yourself.
Oh, nice. I just did that. No equipment. I would do anything I can to force myself out of Chicago because that team does not know how to help a quarterback succeed at all. Period. Eli is the best Manning.
Hey, some people feel that way. Some people feel that way. He beat the Bengals twice. That's
listen. Peyton Manning was 3-1 against Tom Brady in the playoffs. Nobody ever wants to talk about that.
But did he win Super Bowls off of those? Did he? No, because
he won 2.
No. Well, did he? Oh, he did beat both.
Yeah. What are you trying to say there, Tim? You remember the AFC Championship game?
Listen. To be fair, Eli beat them both times in a Super Bowl.
Oh, that's because that's the only time he can play them.
It's a grander stage.
It's the only option he had to play them.
I mean, I get why Gabriel feels that way. Shout out to Gabriel.
Gabriel's a Tennessee fan. He doesn't even know where the real UT is.
Bro, he comes and talking about Texas hot, bro.
I know Gabriel always been here, bro. And he's a Texans fan. We don't talk to Texans fans.
Anyway,
back to what we were talking about. So Arch Manning kind of opts out. Before we fill in some gaps here, this is kind of how the Manning family operates. Here's my thing, and I kind of want to get your opinion on this. But the reason why I think Arch Manning does this and he wants to earn his stripes is because the number one thing that will happen and the number one thing people will say is, well, of course he wants $600 and he wants a free copy of the game. Why wouldn't he want that? If he were to opt in, we just know how social media works. Right. And that's basically what it's going to do. But now that he doesn't want to be in there, now it's, casuals. And we'll talk about the gaming community here in a second because that's a different load of folks. Right? Casuals are like, well, he just, what has he even done? He's the backup quarterback. What is he trying to earn his stripes for? Listen, this is just how the Manning family operates.
Right.
So you don't have to like it. Yes, I got into a Twitter argument with the little Joe Schmo who thought, he knew more about the gaming development than I did. And he kept arguing with me that, people will find their ways around it. Yes, I understand. You can name him Archie Manningham III, and you'll still be fine. I completely understand that.
Right.
Name Arch, the name Manning will not be in the game as it is. And that's basically what this means. So that's why it's a big deal. Tim, why don't you talk about a little bit about your opinion first off, and then secondly, give us the gaming community perspective on this and let us know what the gaming community and how this affects the game as we talk about college football 25.
So let me address a couple of things in the room. Shout out to, again, the 73 people that are here. We really do appreciate it. Me and Harish and I, again, have worked for the largest video game publisher in the world, Electronic Arts, for more than 10 plus years. We're both not even 4 or 5 years removed from the company. So we still have friends that work within the company, and we still keep in contact with them. So I think it's best in regards to us to give our perspective because we kind of know what's going on, even without being associated with the company. one thing that I think we all need to cover is like, just because Arch Manning decides that he doesn't want to be in the game right now does not mean that in the future that's not going to happen. I think what a lot of people are failing to realize right now is he is not currently the starter, and with him not being the starter, he probably doesn't want to put his name in the game anyway, right? Like the most popular player in college football and in football in general is usually the backup quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo, Vince Young wished he was Marcus Mariota. Oh my god. You're right.
You are
he comes in flaming.
Gabriel, you know, kudos to Gabriel. He's been in here 3 weeks in a row at this point, and I want to give you a little shout out for coming in, interacting with us from the AFC South Fan Battle group, bringing your taste of what this podcast is all about, which is
talking trash,
and yeah, that's what Fan Battle podcast is. Fan Battle Sports is all about. So hey, man, shout out to you, Gabriel, and also Tennessee still sucks. Go on, Tim.
Yeah. So again, we know for a fact that he may not be in the game this year. I don't think the thing is that I don't think anybody in the gaming community cares. We just want the game, right? Like most of the people that are diehard fans want the game. Again, your mic's on mute. Most of the people don't care. They want the game. They want to play the game. They want to see the game. And that's really all that we care about. Do I think he will be in the future? Absolutely. He'll be in the game next year. I don't believe that he will not ever not be in the game. And if he's not in the game, who cares, bro? Like, I don't care. Like, I love Texas. I love the players. If Arch Manning decides he never wants to be in the game, nobody's gonna care. Guess what? Back in the day, remember when NBA Live came out? We were kids. This is kind of dating us right here, guys. But back in the day, before Michael Jordan was in every basketball game, literally the main focal point of every basketball game that you see right now, he wasn't in the game.
You know, his first year in the game was the year he was on the cover. Like, he was officially on the game the first year he was on the cover in 2K.
In 2K, I believe that was 2K11, was the first time that he was actually in a NBA 2K game. He had not been out in the game before. 10 years prior, 2K had been out for 10 plus years. Guess what number he was? Number 23, number 45, number 12.
He was just a number, and that's what the whole NCAA games are basically all about. The other thing I want to call out is, EA has said, "Hey, we're going to do in-season updates," and I don't know if we've talked about this, and we didn't talk about this in the past. Players can opt in even during the season, and an update can come out in season because EA will be doing in-game updates every week on this game. Hey, Gabriel, good night, man. They'll be doing updates every week. So if, week 6, Gwen gets hurt, Arch is the starter and he takes over. I'm not saying he is, right, or whatever, but and then he decides, you know what, I'm now the starter. I will opt in. Week 7, EA can put him in the game and he'll be in the game.
Guys, I'm telling you, from a video game perspective, wait, let me just tell, he's already been programmed into the game, guys. He's already there. We can tell you with confidence he's already there. All they have to do is hit a button and he's in the game, because they have to program the names that are not eligible to be. They have to program the names that are not going to be eligible for use. They have to make sure that those names are not in the game already. So this is
literally how it works. And they do this for Madden too. This isn't just an NCAA thing, right? They literally go in. It's a database. It's a table. And literally, if you guys know anything about tables and all that stuff, they have every name in the game, all their information, whatever. And there's basically a flag, right? And you basically hit a check mark in a box, and that flag makes it allowable or unallowable within the game, right? And then when the game is coded, it basically says, hey, it does a check anytime a name is used against that database, and if that name is not eligible. Anyway, that's the really, really techie part of this. Arch Manning on the back end is definitely in the game, right?
Right.
Arch Manning on the UI end is not in the game, and and basically the reason why they say update is because they might. I don't know if they'll do hot fix updates, which is something that's popular in the live service world, where they do a weekly hot fix, or I don't know if it's going to take a patch. But when they put it, if Arch Manning opts in week 6, they can easily go in and say, hey, uncheck this box. And then when we push the next update, that basically the table reads again, and they go in and then bring Arch Manning's name into it. That's literally how it walks. Also, but yeah, that's literally how it works. So that's how that will work. Probably something close to that as we go into this next year.
Yeah, like I said, again, for the casual fan, they don't necessarily know. For them, it's all about money, right? We know it's not about money. For the gamer, for the hardcore gamer, they think Arch is possibly leaving, and we can't stress this enough. The guy is not leaving. Like the guy is not. He's not going anywhere. I don't. That's just not how they do things. Again, that's not how the Manning family does things. So, if he committed to Texas, he was going to commit for however many years he planned on being there. I don't see him leaving. We've already seen that Coach Sark got locked up for 10 years. He's not going anywhere. He did an interview earlier last week, actually, right after our podcast with Keyshawn Johnson. Apparently, him and Keyshawn Johnson are really close.
That was a really good podcast. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Really?
He was basically saying like it had been presented to him, but it wasn't a thing. Like he never planned on leaving because he wanted to create his own legacy here at the University of Texas.
We tweeted that out when I saw it, and I'll pull it up. He basically said something along the lines of, "I want to build my own legacy. I don't want to." He didn't want to follow Nick Saban. Listen, we know Steve Sarkisian he thanks and he praises and he everything that's happened to him is because of Nick Saban and Pete Carroll. Those are his mentors. Those are guys that he really looks up to. At the same token, his goal is to come and win a national title at Texas and build his own legacy. He says, right. I want to build my own legacy. That is literally his quotes. If you have not seen this interview, it's an interview with Keyshawn Johnson, his son, and Steve Sarkisian. And one of the cool things about that interview is Steve Sarkisian talks about how he recruited Keyshawn Johnson's son. That was really cool. Like, it's really cool to hear these recruiting stories straight from the horse's mouth. Right?
Yeah.
And Keyshawn Johnson talks about, hey, when I was at USC, they paid me he said $250,000 or $350,000 to go to USC. Under the table.
That's a big handshake.
Johnson was from New Jersey.
Keyshawn Johnson's from California.
He said something about flying across. No, because he said something.
Flew to Florida. He flew to Florida.
Oh, for a visit.
Yeah, and it was too far.
He's from LA. I'm sorry. He flew to Florida for a visit.
From LA to Florida, and he was like, "This is too far." So one of the boosters was like, "Listen, I'm gonna give you $350,000 so you can like move your family. They could travel however." And he was like, "Yeah, that sounds good." So in his mind, he was ready to commit to the University of Florida. If Keyshawn Johnson would have went to the University of Florida around that 98, 99 time, like that between that 94 to 98 time, they probably would have won another national championship.
Who do they have?
Frank Taylor, bro. Frank Taylor.
No, the quarterback though.
Was it Danny Warfield?
No, Danny Warfield.
Earlier. Wait, who was that?
Let's see. I'm very curious.
What's my man on ESPN right now?
Oh, it was Jesse Palmer.
Jesse Palmer. There we go.
Yeah. Of course Palmer. It was Jesse Palmer.
Yeah.
They had they did have Danny Werfel. They had Brian Schottenheimer, Terry Dean, Eric Kresser. That was their roster in 94. And then in 95, I believe, who took over? I think Werfel was still there, right?
Right, I believe so.
They still had Schottenheimer and some guy named Bobby Sabelhouse. Never heard of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they that was a really stacked team.
They
Yes,
had a stacked team. They had a stacked team. They, Keyshawn was ready to commit, but when he took that flight back home across the country, he just wasn't feeling it. So, so shout out to him. Shout out to Keyshawn for that interview. That was really dope. Says a lot of insight on there. But guys, Arch Manning isn't going anywhere. He's still going to be in the game. He's, and here's the thing for those who were too young when the NCAA community was around, like there were loopholes and stuff that people were doing before day one. You know who was a great resource for NCAA back in the day? Operation Sports. I want to give because Operation Sports
always had updated rosters.
Always updated. They dropped a new roster literally like every couple of weeks. If there was
right?
Yeah, I check them. I check them faithfully, at least like once or twice a month, right? Like I know once college football stuff comes out, especially EA Sports, it's gonna be crazy. And they do a lot of stuff with the revamped guys as well. They post a lot of stuff and updates on the revamped guys. So shout out to them, Operation Sports, because they have stayed the course when it comes to all things NCAA college football, all things college football revamped. So major shout out to them. But again, as we segue into the game itself,
right?
We've gotten a lot of information within the last couple of days. You got to dig for it. You do have to dig for it because I was not this.
You either have to dig or you just have to watch enough of one type of content to where it just shows up on your news feed. And this showed up on my news feed, and it literally was an interview with Kirk Herbstreit specifically focused on the game.
Right.
And I was like, well, who got Kirk Herbstreit on their show? And I'm just like, well, maybe I'll try to reach out to him and see if he'll come on our show. He probably won't even know that, I messaged him. But of course, the folks that got him on their show were his sons. So Ty and Trey, I believe, are their names.
Right.
Shout out to those guys. Street Talk. If you have not seen Street Talk, like minus the Kirk Herbstreit interview, because honestly, if you watched it when it first came out or when it was live, it was a mess because Kirk had a lot of these internet issues and it was not good. But very, very solid question.
It got very so I didn't finish the whole thing, but I got about through it. That was really good.
There's some great information. The one pieces of information that, and I don't even know if Kirk was even supposed to let this information out there. I think this was a blip. It has now been confirmed by Kirk Herbstreit because his sons were even like, wait, what? Can you say that again? And he's like, yeah. No, that's absolutely happening. So Kirk Herbstreit has confirmed there will be multiple, more than one broadcasting teams in EA Sports College Football 25.
That's awesome.
Which is phenomenal. Now, he did not. Game Day is obviously a license. We know this. He did not mention any specific ESPN licenses. He did mention Game Day is licensed. He didn't confirm who else is going to be in there. So this leads us to believe there's still more guys out there that are going to be a part of this game that have not been revealed. And I think that is a teaser. That is EA holding in and withholding information. Like we told you guys last time, EA is very good at keeping information. It will be very hard for information to leak. Now, obviously, guys like Kirk and these guys that are leaking information. I think was it Davis who did it from Madden, who also leaked multiple broadcasts, and he was also like, "Whoops!" Like those guys, they have no clue. Brian Davis, yeah, they have no clue what they're doing over there. So when they say, "Oh yeah," they think it's just general knowledge because they're like, "Well, yeah, these guys play Madden, they know what that means." This will be the first time that not only Madden has multiple broadcast crews, but NCAA has broadcast crews. And I want to touch on something else, which has been a hot topic.
Yeah,
I think we talked about this last week, right?
Okay.
And it's about how NCAA College Football 25 is just a reskin of Madden. Absolutely 155,000% false. That is not going to be the case, and this is the reason why. Think about Frostbite as a framework,
right?
Like a foundation, right? And you can. Frostbite, like when you say Frostbite engine, it's basically like the foundation of your house. and you can do with your house whatever you want.
Right.
For example, they build multiple games from the Frostbite engine. You have games like Battlefield, which are very graphically intensive. Games like SimCity, which are very sim-based, and there's a lot of different things going on. You have things like Plants vs. Zombies, which is literally a 2D scroller that made a 2D scroller turned into a shooter, right?
Right.
You have all your sports titles. EA's done
Whoa,
Star
whoa,
Wars
whoa,
on the Frostbite
whoa,
engine.
Whoa. We just cracked 100 viewers for the first time.
Hey, shout out to the chat. 100 viewers.
Appreciate you.
Thank you guys so much for 100 viewers. It's super cool to have 100 people in here listening to us. We really appreciate it. You know, obviously, we'd love to interact with you guys in the chat. Feel free to type in the chat. We'll bring it up here. We'll talk about anything you guys have to say.
If you guys have any questions for us, if we could give you the information, we will. Again, we don't want to burn any bridges. We don't know a lot about. We know what you know, but we do have insight because of how long we worked in the video game industry, especially with EA. Again, I major shouts out to the people working there, keeping tight lips, because I've definitely asked some of the homies, and they kind of pedal around it. And again, it's nothing about us leaking any information. Honestly, it's for educational purposes, so that when the information does come out, we can be like, hey, we knew about this, and be able to give you the type of light. Maybe they can go into detail. But again, like you said, they run a very tight ship.
Listen, so we are probably about 60, at least less than 60 days from the time period of getting information, right? Because they did say May 1st. But again, yeah. I mean, when we were at EA, everything was very tight-lipped. If you work at certain areas of EA, you'll know more than other areas of EA. Right. Now, there's a place internally where you can go in and find information very easily if you dig enough digging. If you push enough buttons, man, you can get to the right spot. I remember finding out about what game did I find out about before, years before it was announced. It was a Star Wars game when they released Battlefront.
Yeah.
2. I found out 3 years before it happened because I saw a page internally that had Battlefront 2 information. I was like, oh snap, we're making Battlefront 2. That's pretty dope. And then it crashed and burned and I left. So but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, these games, listen, I can tell you right now, guarantee it because I've seen it. College Football 26 is already being planned. College Football 27 has already been planned. College Football 28 has already been planned. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
these games now they will run into the same cycle as Madden does every year. They start planning for these games November of the year before they launch. So last November, the content plan for this has already been out. This is the marketing plan. This is how it's going to release. This is when we're doing all this stuff has already been laid out for months and months and months in advance. The development for next year's game starts planning July of the year. So July of last year, August of last year, they're not developing anything, but they're saying, hey, this is what we would like to do. They have buckets of things internally that they do, right? And it's this bucket is, man, we'd love to have this stuff. We want to do this stuff. This bucket is, we'd like to have it, and this bucket is, this is realistic. Literally, that's how it's laid out.
Yeah,
telling you how it works internally.
It's literally.
I've seen a Venn diagram of it. It's literally
what it looks like. Ideas, realistic expectations, and what's actually going to be in the game. The base game. The base game ideas of what they want to do and what could possibly come. Even, I've even seen things like what was that game? The 3-on-3. I forgot what it's called.
It was 3-on-3. Talking about Madden head-to-head?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about NBA Street?
No, not NBA Street. I'm talking about the game mode. KO.
Superstar KO.
Yeah, I remember seeing that when it was in the concept form. And
Yeah.
again, it was just an idea that later was introduced into the game. Of course, I had no idea what Superstar KL was. I was just snooping.
Yeah.
So
And again, there's things that are X'd out. There's reasons why they're X'd out. And some of it's for Madden, and we'll say X'd out and declined by the NFL. Like literally, there's things that say things like that. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. Kirk Herbstreit, all
We
this
just wanna
brings
give
us
y'all a little
back to
bit.
what we were originally talking about.
Yeah, we just want to give them a little bit, a little bit of
Just
understanding.
a little bit of understanding of how this stuff works internally. But all this to say, Kirk Herbstreit does leak that there's going to be multiple broadcasting crews. Now, what I'd like to see in broadcasting, I'd love to see a Gus Johnson. I really want to say Joe Klatt. I love Joe Klatt.
Yeah,
I'm
I want to
personally
see
a huge fan of Joe Klatt, fan of him, fan of his show. I want to see some recruiting stuff on 3, 24/7. Now, shout out JP Kelly if you're watching. What's up, my guy?
You know what? It kind of goes back to what we were talking about privately about like wish list type of stuff. And I couldn't
Make that.
yeah, we got plenty of time to do it, right? And there's tons of stuff that I actually want in the game that used to be in the game, or that can actually like take the game to the next level. That I feel like is very simple, that can be done and be super, super effective.
Yep.
So remember back in the day, and I mean, again, we're kind of getting to an age where things are digital. We all know about the recent situations with Sports Illustrated and how like they've laid off a lot of people, how they're not physically putting out magazines anymore, and how they've gone just completely digital. I would like to see the reemergence of being on the ESPN Sports Center or the Sports Illustrated cover. If you do good enough, you have a record break or whatever the case, you get whatever top player of the year, whatever the case, where you end up on Sports Illustrated. That was a thing that happened back in the older NCAA games prior to the 360 and the PS3, when it was definitely on, the PS2 was the predominant system, and the Xbox was, trying to find its way. That was the thing. Like if you made it to the ESPN cover, they had you like strike a little pose or something. I remember plenty of times like having Vince Young up there, the offensive player of the week or something like that. Lee Corso doing game predictions. Your mic is muted. Things like that. So I'd like to see those back in the game. I think that would make I think this is going to be the most detailed game that we've seen in probably like 10
3 years to work on it.
Yeah,
this will be one of the most polished games EA has put out probably ever. Because it's just because of the sheer amount of time that they've had to put into it, right?
Right.
Just the sheer amount of time that they've had to focus in on it, put efforts into it, test it, add features, remove features, see how features worked out, see what can and cannot work out, understand they might. I'm just throwing this out there, right? They've had so much time they can even say, man, I really want to do recruiting with NIL, and this is how I want to do it. And they can code in what they thought they want to do, and it's like, this is way too hard. Like we need to dumb this down, and then we can add on to it in the future, right? So then they move that stuff to the side and say, we'll do this out in the future, right?
Right.
This isn't just a video game world. This is literally any software company you ever work for. This is literally how it works. This is how planning works. This is how design works. This is the entire process, right? At its very basic level. Before you even get into the development piece, you have product managers and product owners and project managers, and that's what these guys do, right? They say, this is what we want to do. This is what it looks like. This is how much I have to make it happen. And these are the things that are the most important things, and they go down and prioritize what's most important, all that fun stuff. So
Hell yeah.
Anyway, but that is the latest we have on NCAA. Of course, follow us here. We will every week, if there's new information every week, and there has been for the last 3 weeks that we've either found or EA's released or things that we can confirm that are actual and factual and pieces of information, we'll let you guys know.
Yeah,
If there's not, then we won't talk about it, because this is not just this is a Texas channel, but Texas is a huge part of this game. It is one of the blue bloods in college football. It is one of the main teams that are used in college football. And we'll probably do some side stuff episodes where we talk about different things as well.
Yeah.
Any last words on college football?
I don't know. Okay, again, I'm super impressed, even with the whole Kirk Herbstreit thing. If that's how they're letting stuff go, where they just kind of let stuff kind of just slip out, because what's crazy is why wasn't that a major headline? Like that should have been blown up everywhere, and it wasn't.
Maybe it is, and it just hasn't been done yet because that wasn't part of the content plan. Maybe there is a time and a place where they wanted that information to be leaked.
No, what I'm saying is that
Or
the fact
let
that
out.
Kirk Herbstreit made those comments, like usually it would catch wildfire.
His son's podcast isn't that big yet. Like they literally just started like recently. So
That's
I mean,
that show.
it's actually a really good show.
Minus the technical issues, which again we're starting up and we run into technical issues all the time. That's why we started late. We both had technical issues. So like outside of it, it was really really good and really insightful. And it's
That's
like
really good questions. And
dude, they didn't hold back. They didn't hold back at all. They just like
if he blew out the broadcast, of course. Actually, there is one more thing I want to talk about. I'm very excited about the commentary of the game. Did you hear the segment about how they commentate the game?
Yes,
that was cool.
They
so
watched the game to do
it. 14. No, well, this is so. And they do it basically in NCAA 14. It got to a point to where they basically just, hey, here's the game. I'm gonna watch you watch this game, commentate on it as if it's a live game, right?
Right.
That's what they did at NCAA 14. What they did for 25 is they also went a little bit further into that and said, here's a scenario within a game, and they're like, it's 3rd and 15 in the college football playoff or the national championship game. X football team has the ball on this yard line. Commentate the game. And they're watching this scenario. Now, he wasn't specific around any specific scenarios, but now it's scenario based. And this is how they're building the commentary for the game for this year, which is super awesome.
And which we already know that they made it very, very clear that they have done multiple hundreds and thousands of reshoots in regards to making sure they get the names, making sure they get the nicknames right. So it's not going to be like, I don't know if you remember this, but like earlier, like in the early 2000s, where they would be like the Longhorns, blah, 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 blah. And it would be like, they would just say the Longhorns or Texas. And then like it would be a broken up. It's like they inserted the name and then said whatever.
Oh, there's like a gap. Yeah.
It would be
I was a little younger, didn't really too care much about that.
I mean, I didn't care about it now. I only catch it now because I've been recently playing like NCAA 13 and about to boot up NCAA 14 on the Xbox 360. So it's like I catch those little nuances because of how far technology and how crazy software has gotten within the last 10 years. Now, even now, I will say this, and then we can move on. I was recently on my PlayStation 3. I've been in a dynasty for quite some time. I started out at like USF and then graduated to Pittsburgh and then went from Pittsburgh to Texas. Like there's still things that are going on in the game that I have not seen animated anywhere else. Even in NCAA 14, I think I started a dynasty prior to that, an old dynasty in Colorado on the 360. I had been messing around with that. Still seeing animation, still seeing catches, still seeing bunches of stuff that I've never seen in any Madden. Honestly, and I'm not a Madden hater because you know how I feel about Madden. I do have a soft spot for Madden. But the animations in college football, NCAA 14 and 13, are better than some of the animations in Madden right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, animations are just coding. That's all it is, right?
The catch animations in NCAA 14 are nuts.
There's some crazy ones.
It's some crazy stuff that I still
diving for slant passes. There was this one animation where this one guy did a one-handed catch on a slant route just because he could. This is what the animation called for, right?
It's nuts, dude. It's really impressive. So, like, if you guys can, I know NCAA 14 is god expensive. It's like the highest I've seen it is like $300. The cheapest I've seen it is like $90-$80 if you can find it out there. If you guys can go out to a garage sale or something, you can stumble upon it. Don't make a big scene. Just buy it. Hurry up and buy it. Go and play it. Play a season or two, and just kind of pay attention to the details, man. They put a lot of details in those games. And those games are 10 plus years old. 10 plus years old. And even compared to the latest Madden. And again, I'm not bashing Madden. I have a soft spot for Madden. But just some of the stuff and the detail that they have in these games, especially the later NCAAs, is nuts.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, if you get a chance, I actually took my PC to the game room the other day.
Okay.
And put it on a 75
Are you
inch.
revamped now?
Yeah, I have it playing on my PC. I don't play it a lot because my PC's in my office and everything. Like my TV's in my game room. But the other night, it's like, hey, I ain't got nothing better to do. Let's hook this up.
Right.
So I hooked it up to my TV out there in the game room, and I played a night, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. Put Texas in the SEC. Really tough schedule. Lost 2 games, and I'm probably crying.
One thing that I did want to chime on, one other thing, is that again, and this has been passed out to quite a few people, but the fact that they're going to make the college football playoff customizable is insane.
Well, it makes sense. Look, it tells me that they're using their brains and not their, listen, literally, and we haven't even talked about this. We briefly talked about it last week. They're literally already talking about changing a 14 team to a 16 team in 2 years.
Right.
So why wouldn't they make that? And it just goes to show EA is not hogtied by
the NCAA.
The NCAA. This is the reason why.
If this is the reason why, they have more creative control, and we had to wait a couple more years just so that the creative control can fully take place. They had the freedoms to do whatever they need to do, get all the schools, get everything under control as far as NIL deals and what needs to go with what. Again, remember, they still have an ambassadors program. We know who the ambassadors are, okay? And we expect to see them, we have kind of have an understanding that they're probably going to get paid more because they're ambassadors, right? But if that's the case, to delay the game for 2 years, because we found out about it in 2021, February of 2021, and here it is March of 2024, and we're finally at the finish line here within the next 100 days or whatnot, which is gonna fly by like crazy. We're in the second week of March already, coming up here next week. July will be here in no time.
July's gonna be here. July's gonna be here.
Sports wise, for Texas in general, sports wise is gonna be crazy. College World Series, we expect Texas to be there. Women's college World Series, we expect Texas to be there. Is it June?
I don't know if I expect Texas to be there.
I'm talking about the softball team.
Oh, the Women's College World Series, I believe. Let's see. The Women College World Series, I believe, it's at the same time, like June, July.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I remember those games. Like,
last year it was July. Yeah, it's like June or July, something like that.
Yeah, I remember those bleeding into July. So, like, again, it's gonna be crazy. Again, we got some Longhorns to potentially make the Olympic team. You know what I'm saying? Got some Longhorns that are going to be participating in the Olympics. That's going to be a major shout out to Major shout out to the Texas men's swim team. They won again.
Bro, how much are they? Have they won the conference? They won the conference, didn't they? Are they in the tournament? Are they like in the NCAA?
Yeah.
I'm not thinking. Listen, there's so much going on in the 40 acres right now.
Yeah.
I'm watching a lot of women's college basketball. I've watched every Texas baseball game. As hard as it was to watch, I watched it all.
Oh, that was grueling. Listen, it got to a point I had to stop watching that. That's between Texas basketball and Texas and baseball.
Yeah. It's a good segue. Let's talk about it. So Texas goes to Baylor for the final time. And they are basically up 15 for most of the game. And, they're hovering between 10, 13, 14, 10, 8, basically by the majority of the game.
The largest they were up was 20.
Not in that game, I don't believe so.
Against Baylor, they didn't start out with a hot 20?
No, they started off like 11-0 or something.
Okay, all right.
But still, they still choked it out, right? They started off 9-1. And then it got as big as 17. You got like 20-9 at one point. So 11. Yeah. So, I mean, it was always like 11, 14. And then Dylan Disu gets hurt, sprained knee, which was very scary. But even before he gets hurt, man, it's the same problem with this team that we've had all season. And basically, it's just if Abrams balled out on Monday. He actually played very well. Finally, I mean, he's been struggling.
His eye was busted open. Like, dude was doing floaters and like
he was doing all sorts of stuff. Abrams is doing his thing. 33 points on 13 of 21 for shooting. He was 4 for 10 from 3. Listen, Tyrese Hunter, I can't stand that guy, but he played okay. He brought in 12 points.
Right.
Keaton Cedric has actually been coming along recently. Cedric's been playing well. I don't know what Dylan Mitchell's problem is. I don't know what Brock Cunningham doesn't do anything. He's Brock Cunningham is very frustrating to watch. Of course, Kendall Weaver is not a big score guy. He's your defensive anchor. That's the guy that anchors defense. And then you have got IT Horton does okay, but as soon as Tyrese Hunter has 12 points, but he went 4 for 13. Yeah, Tyrese Hunter was terrible. That dude sucks. That dude's terrible.
Listen, I'm no basketball aficionado, right? I'm not 6'5". I'm just 6 foot. That's barely. I can just go from what I've seen, and what I've seen is that these guys make poor choices on the court. Here's a primary example. At any point in time where you're up and you're up big, why are you shooting threes when the opposing team is in foul trouble early?
Yeah. Because you don't have a true point guard who can slow the game down. We don't listen. This is why people, man, listen, I said this last year. People are going to hate it when Marcus Carr leaves. Marcus Carr, on a whim, to change the game and slow it down on a whim. Man. He knew how to slow the ball down. He knew how to eat clock. This team just goes. They took 60 shots. And they shot 50%. And a lot of this is one-on-one ball, right? They're not moving the ball. They're not setting screens. This is a lot of one-on-one ball. It's a lot of isolation. And actually, defensively, this team's not bad. Yeah, Baylor ends up shooting 53%. They shoot, but the problem is in the second half, Baylor shot 75% in the second half, and they end the game shooting 69% from 3. That's insane.
What was the percentage for Baylor from the 3-point line versus Texas? Because Texas only hit like 2 or 3 threes.
Yeah. So Texas ends at 39%, which is actually pretty good. 39% is not bad.
Right.
You ready?
Baylor at 50.
70. Baylor shot 69.2% from 3.
That's my God.
But here's the thing. Texas took 23 threes, made 9. How many they both made the same amount of threes. Baylor only took 13.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They did. Their shot selection was not bad, bro. Also, can we also talk about how the big men not positioned? They don't. It's like they don't. And I just keep harkening back to this. They don't play under control. They don't play under
Yeah,
control.
they. So here's the thing. You remember the? I think it might have been the Houston game. They get a turnover late, and I think it might have actually been. It might have actually been Hunter. Either Hunter. Yeah, it was Tyrese Hunter who goes and he like runs down the court and he's all out of control and discombobulated, and he ends up turning the ball over.
They did that
happens all the time. And it's because you don't have a point guard. Listen, I love Max Asmus. The dude's not a point guard. He's a two guard.
He's a two
playing
guard.
the point. Yeah.
He's a two guard.
Come on, the dude scored over 3,000 points in his career, and you want to play him as your point guard? That dude's a two guard. And look, it might have just been the results of, you had two guys that left late and you couldn't replace them. I don't know what it is.
Right.
But there is not a ball handler on this team that is reliable, that can slow things down for this team.
Why do they have to go so fast? Like, what is that? Is that what Ronnie Terry is?
That's their style. It's play defense, get shots up, and play defense. That's what it sounds like to me. Like there's no fundamental. That's not how Chris Beard played. So I mean,
no, man, I really wish Chris Beard didn't fucking be an idiot, dude. Like, golly, man.
Well, to be fair, the charges were dropped, and he should put himself in the wrong situation, right? And you can't do that at Texas, but yeah, but here's the thing: Texas loses this game, and this team I still think is good enough to win 2 games in the NCAA tournament.
I'm not knocking it. Is my confidence high? Am I picking him to get to the national
back to the Elite Eight? No. I'm not picking him to get back to the Elite Eight.
As far as I'm
concerned, you never know.
As soon as they run into somebody that can actually pass and shoot the ball very well, they
could get run out of the gym. Yeah, they could get run out of the gym.
Blown out. And
let's talk about that.
I'm hoping I'm wrong. I want to eat crow, but from what we're seeing and what's been going on the last 3 weeks,
yeah. You know who can pass the ball really well and slow the game down and make you work? Purdue.
Oh yeah. Oh,
you know what bracket Texas is projected to be in right now? They're projected to be in the Midwest bracket with Purdue as the 1 seed. Texas is right now as of today, and again this will update again tomorrow. The worst Texas will be as an 8 seed unless they win the Big 12 championship. They could get to a 7. Right now they're projected to be an 8 seed in the Detroit bracket, where Purdue is the 1 seed. Literally the worst spot you can be in. So if they beat number 9 Mississippi State, they play Purdue in the second round. So it's probably going to be a second round exit for this.
They're not going to be the way they're playing right now. They're not beating Mississippi State.
I've never seen Mississippi State play. I didn't even know they had a basketball program. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Listen, the way the Texas is playing right now, I think that if anybody has a decent point guard, which we've seen this happen multiple times, if that team has a decent point guard and some big men that can actually handle the ball, they're done. Yeah. They're absolutely done. I would not be surprised, and I'm just being completely honest here, and this may sound negative, but again, the thing about being a fan is you have to be able to be fair. You can't be delusional all the time. This is not a time to be delusional.
I like being delusional. Being delusional is fun. Mississippi State averages 15 assists a game, which I don't know how that ranks like in college basketball. I'm going to be honest with Jim. I don't think it's very good.
Listen, I don't care what you think. What I think is that in regards to that, they seem like they're really good and they seem like they can do things very well. If we go and pull up their stats, right? And
they also beat number 5 Tennessee. Never mind, I changed my mind. We're probably going to get blown out in Mississippi State.
And I don't even think
they've beaten. So here's the thing:
Rick Barnes who every year.
Mississippi State. Here are some teams that they've beaten. They've beaten Tennessee. They've beaten Auburn, who was ranked number 8 at the time. They beat, but their last 3 games they played Auburn again and lost. They only lost to Kentucky by 2, which a lot of people love Kentucky right now.
Yep.
And then, but they just lost to A&M by 6. So, and then they play number 17 South Carolina.
Basketball program is actually kind of tough.
Yeah. So
they're not world beaters, but they're not. You're not finna just roll up into College Station in the basketball program and just roll them over. That ain't happening.
Yeah. So
as
listen,
much as we hate A&M, that ain't happening.
I'm not convinced Texas can grind out a win. And you know what? A lot of the games and this NCAA. The other here's the one thing I didn't call out, and I do want to call this out. And I'm not a guy that usually blames the refs a lot. These refs were terrible. No, these refs were trash. Listen, I think it was like 21-7 on fouls. Literally every shot Baylor got up seemed like a foul.
Right.
In the second half specifically.
In the second half, yeah.
But it also is like, as a coach, you have to adjust. You know that they're going to call the fouls. What are you telling your team to say? Hey, guys, this guy's calling everything against you. That's just the nature of the reality. What are you doing to adjust to that? You can't. This can be a very physical team. We know this, and it's one of the things I like about their defense. They can play physical, but the thing is can you play physical and adjust the level of physicality, but still have the same level of intensity? And I don't know if they can.
Right. We know that they can put up. We know that they can put up numbers on the offense. However, we know that at times their shot selection, and I don't understand why Rodney Terry doesn't talk about this. Like, what is this not a?
Because he's a terrible coach.
Is this like?
Because the dude sucks at coaching. But listen, you not realize that Rodney Terry
not good for him.
You do not realize Rodney Terrell is not a good coach at UTEP. Somebody argued with me that he started like something his first year, and then he went like I think he went like 17-15 his second year at UTEP, which seems on surface really good. That second year, they started like 8-1 and then finished the season like 6-21.
That's not good.
This year we've started 11-3, and since we've gone 9-11.
That ain't good.
That's literally what this team has done this year. And I understand the Big 12 is tough. I understand the Big 12 is the hardest conference in college basketball. One of those losses, we blew a 15-point lead to Central Florida, and Rodney Terry cried about Hornstone. Just lost to Baylor on after being up by anywhere from 10 to 12 points the entire game, right? We lost to
U of H twice.
We lost to U of H twice. One game we should have probably won. The other game, they blew us close. No, they blew us out the second game.
Oh yeah, at home they blew us out.
They blew us out. You lose. Kansas blows you out. Whatever. BYU blows you out. But the Kansas game, the BYU, these good teams that you got blown out by, you don't even show up for a half. Right. That BYU was atrocious. They don't even show up for half that game.
And then played like the best team in the freaking country the second half.
Yeah. And again, I get these teams are good. I understand the Big 12 is good, but you can't come in here and play the way that these guys play. The first West Virginia game, awful, and they lose that game by 2. They were god awful that game. Yeah, my God, they turned the ball over like 26. That's the other thing that this team struggles with is they can't take care of the ball. When they start turning the ball over, it is oh my God.
When they turn the ball over, turn it off. When they turn the ball, they might as well just flip the points on the other team because they're gonna score.
Iowa State destroyed them. I think I'm looking at the stats now. The Iowa State game, my God, it was so hard to watch. They turned the ball over 14 times, and Iowa State turned it over to something like 20 points off turnovers or something. 18 points off of turnovers.
Yep.
18-6. 20 turnovers, 18 led to 18 Iowa State points. This team, it's a firecracker, and you just don't know. Also, they outside of Dessou and Adamus, they have no offensive weapons.
Their offensive
and people listen. People say
weapons are in Australia.
Yeah, The people say, Tyrese Maxey was bad before he got to Texas, and Dylan Mitchell. Listen, I don't think Dylan Mitchell was that bad last year. I thought it was decent. I do think he regressed, and you can call me a clown, you can call me stupid. I think the dude just regressed. Tyrese Maxey, he did good enough last year. He didn't get the draft grade that he wanted. That dude is going to the draft. I'm sorry. I hope he's not planning on going to the draft. Is there a third league division of NBA basketball? Not the G League. Like, is there something below that? That's where Tyrese Maxey needs to go.
That entire basketball team could use another year because they all look terrible. And it's not like, again, we know Dylan Disu what he can do.
Right, Dylan Disu can go to the league.
Huh?
Dylan Disu can go to the league. I think the only problem with Dylan Disu is he's too small.
That's what I'm saying.
He's fragile,
bro.
But I think he can play in the league today.
The way, bro, the way these NBA basketball players are coming out right now, these freshmen, bro. If you're not contributing immediately, you really not just out there.
Well, the state of college basketball sucks anyway, because even a lot of these one and done guys that go to the league, they suck. They suck it up in the league. So
they're not developed. They're not developed. I remember Coach.
I think he's only there for a year.
I can't remember if it was Coach Gino Auriemma or it was Coach Calipari, but basically one of them was saying that they were. I think it was Gino Auriemma. Gino Auriemma says, "Hey, I'm going to coach a youth an AAU team, right? I'm gonna coach an AAU team," and he was saying like the AAU basketball leagues have screwed over basketball in general because they would go and play in a youth league, right? In the AAU league, he would keep them all together. He'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna go practice." Yeah, they were like, "Practice." He said that some of the other teammates was like, "Practice? I'm not going to practice. I'm going to go to another team and I'm going to play another game." So they're not practicing.
What do you mean? Go just on the spot?
AAU is like, bro. AAU is like club basketball. That's all it is. So literally, you don't get to stay with one team. If you want to leave and go to another team, you can't. So what they would do is that he had his son was on the team. He had his players, their starting five. Two of the players left because they went and joined another team. When their AAU
on the spot, like at the tournament.
No, not on the spot, but after the season was over, they just left and jumped on another AAU team to continue playing. They don't
transfer basically.
They don't practice, bro.
Oh, that's
so. Then they get to college, right? You only got X amount of days in the day to practice. Like you have to go to class, you have to get your studies in, right? Mm-hmm. You have to basically make an appearance, and then you're on the road, bro. You get to practice. They probably practice an hour and a half out of the day. They don't know how to practice.
Well, that's the state of college basketball is so bad. I just learned the other day that the women have to stay at least 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years, and they have to be at least 22
college
years old.
Basketball is actually a lot of fun to watch. It's gotten the quality of it has gotten so much better.
Listen, in the last 3 years, and I'm saying this because I watch it within the last.
I do too. Oh, I watch
Texas basketball. Women's college basketball has smoked men's college basketball.
Yeah, because they play basketball. Bro, they're not playing N1 on the court.
In the last 3 years, men's college basketball has looked like poo. In my opinion,
the women's NCAA tournament this year is going to be awesome. I actually cannot wait to watch it. There's going to be so many good teams.
Let me ask you this: how many stars do you think in college basketball right now? Men's college basketball.
How many starters? Like NBA starters?
No, stars.
Like in men's college basketball today.
Right.
I don't think I can name one that I know of that I can be like that. I don't have one. There's not a guy.
Boy from Duke. Duke always has a white boy that can ball.
Oh yeah. But
I can't pronounce his last name. I don't want to mess his last name up.
I know you're talking about though.
But he got clipped while people were storming the court, which I still listen.
No, did you watch the video replay of that?
No, I did not.
He did that same bull crap that Caitlin Clark did, where he runs into he basically tried to shoulder charge this kid and he got hurt. So homeboy can go take
that's why Duke basketball players are hated. The only Duke basketball player that I like is Kyrie, and I barely like him.
I love Kyrie Irving.
Oh yeah, because he's balling like a mother. Wow. Listen,
Kyrie Irving is a baller, bro. That's my favorite player in the NBA.
Kyrie putting up numbers over there with the new contract shoe deal he got. Anyway,
I don't care. At least he's putting up something.
Listen, I will tell you this: women's college basketball, there's like 10 stars right now. Even if you don't know them by name, you know who I'm talking about.
You know who they are. Yeah.
The girl, the phenom out in USC. I talked about her last week.
Oh, she's really good. Dude, she's a baller, bro. She is a baller. I watched her play last weekend. She's good.
She put up like 40 really good. Then you got Caitlin.
Yep.
I think it's kind of overrated, but hey, who cares? Caitlin Clark.
Is she though? Listen, I think she's also one that knocked somebody over and got hurt too. So I don't like her because of that. That's a shitty attitude to have. But she can shoot, bro. She can shoot Steph Curry range, bro.
She's crazy with the ball.
I know you're talking about.
LSU, basically the entire squad. South Carolina. You can't do Texas. You can't forget about this. You can't even forget A&M.
Our best player is out, and this team is still balling.
Right,
bro. We have a center that's a beast. We have that point guard, the freshman point guard that's killing it right now.
And guess what? You're gonna make more money in college than they would in the WNBA, and that's another topic for another day. But that's crazy.
Well, yeah, because NIL.
NIL's giving them that bread, dog. They getting broke off, bro. Angel Reese. I watched Angel Reese last week play a basketball game. She had a full face of makeup. I'm like, what is going on? Come to find out, she's got a makeup contract. She comes to a basketball game.
Oh, she has a makeup contract? Yo, that's lit.
She comes to a basketball game every game.
Decked out.
Full face of makeup. Crazy.
And then she drops 30 and 10.
Drops 30 and 10.
That's what's up.
That's one of the best drop steps I've ever seen a college basketball player have, dog.
Listen, Madison Booker, probably freshman of the year in the Big 12. And listen, Rory Harmon is hurt. She tore ACL. Rory Harmon was the best player on this team. Rory Harmon could ball.
And she's going to be back.
Freshman.
And
she tore ACL. She'll probably be back next year.
No, she'll be back next year. But that's
what I'm saying. She'll be back next year.
They're gonna get.
Listen, you know what's funny? Rory Harmon's probably been hurt for 75% of the season. Mm-hmm. She's still second on the team in points.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Taylor
Jones is solid. I really like that one chick, Shaylee, the point guard, Shaylee Gonzalez. She's actually really good.
Yeah. She's fun to watch.
Yeah. So I mean, this team is so good. And I the other thing, this is the difference between Rodney Terry and the women's basketball coach. Accountability. When they win by 3, you hear the press conferences from the coach?
Not good enough.
Vic Schaefer, he's like, bro, that they were terrible. They are lucky they won that game.
Right.
Rodney Terry over here was like, well, we have this we have a process and we have a culture. And no, bro, just win me some basketball games, fam. Stop blowing 15-point leads to my guy.
The Rodney Terry experience.
That style of coaching is done, bro. Nobody responds to that crap no more.
And you getting ready to go to SEC, bro? You finna roll into Kansas? Do you think you finna roll in Kentucky like that next year?
Kentucky? You think you're gonna go into Bryan College Station and be like, yeah, guys, please don't do horns down. We don't like that. Man, they don't care. They're going to horns down you in your face when you say that to them. Like, literally, I'm not.
Don't let them win. Don't.
You better sweep A&M next year because I don't want to hear anything.
Do not let A&M win in College Station, bro. And that court.
I mean, they just smoked us in College Station the other day. Oh, no, they smoked us here the other day.
Yeah.
Baseball. Yo, they obliterated us.
No. Yeah, it's nasty. But what I'm saying is,
we need to get Nash on here and talk about baseball NIL because I know nothing about it, but apparently Texas is not doing very well in baseball NIL. And they're losing a lot of really good talent. Like A&M got like the best guy in the transfer portal on their baseball team. I think he came from LSU.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we need to fix that. Anyway, so conference tournament starts next week. I think Texas goes to the conference tournament as a 8 seed. Let me take a look here.
I don't see them winning that thing. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, dog.
3, 4,
I can see them winning, maybe getting one game off. Maybe
they'll probably play Oklahoma. I think they'll beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think they could beat Oklahoma. Okay, I think that's possible, but anything else, dog, no, absolutely not. If they get Baylor again, they may be able to get Baylor. If they get Oklahoma and they get Baylor. It just depends on where they're at. Maybe they get Kansas State first.
No,
Maybe.
so basically, bracket. Let me see if I can find a bracket. I just want to see what it's gonna look like.
Again, shout out to the 146 people in here, man. This is nuts, bro. This is nuts. Shout out to y'all. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, so they would play the 8-9 game, which would be Oklahoma, right?
Okay.
And then
I think past Oklahoma is possible. I think that's feasible.
And then they play the number 1 seed. So then they would go and they would play Houston in the second round.
No,
they're getting blown out. They're getting blown out. Yeah.
And they're playing where? Are they playing in a?
They're playing Kansas. They're playing Kansas City.
And
I'm sure Brett.
We don't know how well Houston travels or whatever the case may be.
Houston basketball travels, man, because they're actually good.
Yeah, they're actually good. And
are they number 1 right now? They're ranked number 1.
Wait, in the country?
Houston? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Houston's ranked number 1.
Yeah, that makes sense. And they just won a Big 12. So, they're not winning.
Iowa State's really good. But again, these are games that we should have won and we dropped.
The people in the Big 12, these teams in the Big 12 know that Texas is leaving and they want to send Texas out losing. So they're going to get the best shot no matter what.
Well, I get that best shot stuff. I just think some of these teams are just better, right?
I think it's
better.
I think that is a motivational tactic. Hey, Texas doesn't want to be here. They don't think that their Big 12 is good enough. They're going to go join the SEC. They think they're good enough to go join the SEC. Let's send them out with a bang. Let's piss them off. Let's just.
Well, they are good enough to go to the SEC. That's why they got an invite.
We know that, but we also know what else comes with. We know what comes with that. We know what comes with the invite. We know what the football program and other sports have to offer, but we also know that what comes with that, and that's a fucking Brinks truck.
They are so good, so irrelevant. They even were able to convince the SEC to bring their little bro with them. Anyway, hey Tim, where can the people find you, bro?
Hey, listen, man. Again, I appreciate all 149 people jumping in here today. I appreciate it, sticking with us. You can find me at Tim Wayne on Twitter. You can find me at Tim Wayne on Instagram. Let's talk college football. Like, listen, I made it college football. Listen, I just want a little bit of time here.
What you got,
bro? I created a video. I put my heart, I put my soul into it. Ran into some copyright issues. Still dealing with copyright issues to this day, right now. And I just feel like that video didn't get enough traction, bro.
You talking about your DBU video?
No. The DBU video got hella traction. It's the
you talking about the college football video, the college football, the intro video.
Right.
Oh, that was actually a pretty dope video. But the DBU video got lots of traction. Listen, you even got called out for leaving some boys out, man. Why you leave out my boy Rob Babers, bro?
My bad. I could listen. It's hard to find
old school film.
Oh my gosh, dog. And I love Rod. Rod, when I started understanding the game of football, Rod Babers was the guy.
That
Like
dude's smart, man.
Rod Babers was the guy. And yeah, I just it's hard to do, but man, I'll get Rod Baber. I would love to get Rod some shine. I'd love to get Rod. So Rod, if you're watching, listen, I'm gonna make sure you get the proper respect that you deserve. Because again,
I need to find out how to get Rod Babers. Do you have his phone number? Do you remember that one time we met him?
dude, probably one of the best sports experiences I've ever had in my life.
Well, I was drunk, so I don't really remember it, but I do remember meeting him.
Wait, what?
Remember we met. Oh, I got wasted with Rod. Remember it was his birthday.
It was Rod's birthday.
It was Texas OU. We were at
OU. That was the year that they decided not to go because remember, what's the Longhorn?
Yeah, they decided not to go to the game. Yeah.
The Longhorn Network stayed in Austin, and they
sponsored that view party basically.
Right,
and it was Rod's birthday.
It was a lot of people in there, dude. Like easily 300, 400 people in there.
We sat and talked to Ron for like 3 hours.
Packed in the Pluckers, and we were sitting there just chopping up with Rod Babers. We were telling him what we were trying to do. And like we were telling Rod what we were trying to do 4 years ago.
This was 3-4 years ago.
So Rod starts buying shots. You take a shot. I take a shot. I'm not like a shotter. I don't really drink like that. But I still take shots with Rod fucking Babers. It's Rod Babers, dog.
Yeah,
it's Rod Babers.
I think we took more than just a shot.
You also had beer. I did not
because I was wasted.
I did not have a beer, and it was all within a short. This was all like Rob was like, "Listen, I'm ready to drink." Because remember, he had a job to do, so he was at work.
Yeah, he was doing the whole like the whole thing, and I think it was off the clock at that point. He's like, "I'm off the clock. It's my birthday. We party."
Right. So Ryan had started buying shots.
Yeah.
After Rod buys like a round of shots,
this is longer than 4 years ago. This was like 6 years ago because I had met Ariel when this happened.
Oh wow,
this is a long time ago.
Okay, so this is a while back. Yeah. So he starts buying shots. Y'all start drinking, taking shots. Y'all start drinking Blue Moons. Y'all had like 2 or 3 Blue Moons, and then that was it. But in the end, we got so much in that conversation, man. It was just so much that happened within that conversation.
Yep. So I will try to find a way to reach out to Rod. I could probably get with Brad Kellner and see if we can get him on. I need to reach out to Brad again. No, I need to repost this from the Longhorn TikTok. Did you see the Did you see the quote from Texas Sports Unfiltered? Shout out to those guys this morning and Bucky.
No, what happened?
Bro, Bucky had this story he was telling us. Like, I think it was something about Texas and Texas A&M, right?
Uh-huh.
And he was like telling this story, like met these kids somewhere, and like he was like walking around or whatever, and they were he like overheard their conversation. And he's like, he said something about like, man, these kids were this is what these kids were doing. How come Texas and Texas A&M don't ever meet in the Super Bowl?
Ooh.
And then the guy responded like, man, I don't know. That's a really good question.
Jesus Christ.
And then Bucky was like, nah, bro, that's not a really good question. That's one of the dumbest questions I've ever heard. I'll repost it on our TikTok. I need to find it, but that was hilarious.
I need a good laugh.
I was
my laptop is just starting to freaking trip out.
Hey, yeah, we're an hour and 20 into this, so let's go ahead and let the people know where they can find. Oh, you already told them, all right?
Yeah. Where can they find you at, my man?
They can find me at the Uncle Gandhi. You can also find me throughout all the shows on the Fan Battle Sports Network. You find me on Sunday nights. We're getting back. We're starting back this weekend with Glover Quinn.
Okay.
AFC South Fan Battle podcast.
Oh, Glover Quinn.
Yeah, former Texan safety.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about, but they're like, hey, man, you want to come on Sunday? Grover Quinn's going to be there. I was like, yeah, sure. I'll talk to Grover Quinn. He sounds like a cool guy.
Yeah, he's had a nice career in the league, dude.
Yeah, he had a really good career in the league. And at a time where the Texans were not very good. So
yeah. He was definitely one of the bright spots.
The bright spots of they were still like in their early stages of life when he was around. So But yeah, we're live Sunday night with Grover Quinn, 8:30. I'm also on the Horseshoe Mob podcast. We had a great show the other day with C. Lou, so shout out to C. Lou. And then next week we'll have, I believe his name is Dylan, but he's another guy who's really popular in the cult podcasting community. So
Okay.
Trying to get some some guests on that show. So that would be 8:30 Tuesday night.
For sure.
Yeah, of course, you and I here Thursday nights, every Thursday, and you can find me on Twitter at the Uncle Gandhi. Also, don't forget to follow us at Longhorn LH Fan Battle on Twitter.
Again, shout out to the 150 people. I know y'all can't see me, but shout out to y'all.
Hey, we appreciate it. This is pretty dope.
Heck yeah.
So super cool. So yeah. And then of course, Longhorn Fan Battle on YouTube. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your neighbors, share with your girlfriends, share with your dog, share with whoever wants to like it. And then of course, find us on TikTok, Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast. Tim, it was a good show tonight. I appreciate you coming on. My name's Harish. The guy right there in the dark screen. That's my boy Tim.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Go home, touchdown like the end zone.